Have you ever heard the phrase silence is golden? I had an OG tell me one time that some people need to go platinum. And what he meant by that was that sometimes you just got to shut up. Sometimes you just got to not talk. Sometimes you just not have to give an opinion on something. And when I was told this was the early 2000s. So this was before social media. Now, if you say anything, you know it can blow up. You can't even defend yourself sometimes because it won't matter. Once the social media mob has a hold of it, that's it. If you say anything, you're just putting gas already on the house fire. And the reason that I say that is this DeSean Jackson situation should have been over in one day. But the reason that it hasn't been over is people keep talking about it. Listen, you can't do Hitler quotes. That's the end of the story, really. That's it. That's all that needs to be said. So I'm sorry. I was trying to say something profound, but I used a fake Hitler quote because I didn't read the whole thing. I didn't understand what I was reading. I was trying to say something about Black empowerment. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend anyone. Obviously, I can understand. This is me talking to DeSean Jackson. I can understand if Jewish people are upset. I try to educate myself. I meant no harm, to anyone. I'm just trying to talk about Black empowerment. That should have been it. Should have been over in 12 hours, and we should have moved on to whatever was next. But when other people keep talking, all of a sudden, the fire gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Now it's an inferno. It's Stephen Jackson or Malcolm Jenkins or whoever else. Now everyone wants to throw some gas on the fire. And here's the most important thing that you need to remember is that no one cares about context in 2020. Context does not matter in 2020. It's just who can get the retweets, who can get the likes, who can get the follows, who can, help their social media brand. No one cares about context. No one is listening to no one. Everyone is just trying to get out their fire social media posts. Half of the time, they're not even outraged about it, but they're just jumping on the bandwagon. They're riding the train and everything. So the best thing that you got to do is just say what you got to say, apologize if you did something wrong, and then move on to the next thing. Unfortunately for DeSean Jackson, people keep talking. And so it keeps going on and on and on and on. Now, Malcolm Jenkins was like, hey, listen, the Breonna Taylor murderers, they're still out there. We got the Karens still out there. The cops are still putting knees in our necks still out there. Let's not lose focus. And I saw something from Michael Wilbon, and it was the truth, but it was also sad to me. Michael Wilbon said, everything that Stephen Jackson has done has now been undermined by him defending DeSean Jackson. And that was very interesting to me because it's true. The problem is the reason that it's true. The reason that it's true is because Black people can't have varying opinions on things. You have to be perfect, no matter what you're doing. If you're a Black person, you literally have to be perfect, right? So it doesn't matter if Stephen Jackson is a little off in whatever he's saying. What ends up happening is when you're Black, that invalidates any positive things that you've done, which is crazy if you think about it, because people say stupid stuff all the time. It doesn't necessarily invalidate everything that they've ever done in their life, if you really think about it, right? It's not like he went out and murdered somebody. It's not like he did a crime or anything. He just has a real, wishy-washy opinion on what DeSean Jackson did. It's an opinion that a lot of people disagree with. That should have absolutely nothing to do with the fact what he's talking about his friend, George Floyd, getting murdered by the cops. They're two separate things. But when you're Black, unfortunately, those things get pushed together. It's something that I've talked about a lot. It's the margin of error for Black people. It's very, 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 very small. If you're Riley Cooper, you can make a mistake. You can apologize and go to sensitivity training, and you can get a contract extension. That's just how our world works, is that if you have the right complexion for protection, you can fail up. You are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to fail. You are allowed to, grow as a person. But Black people, we aren't allowed to grow. It's like we're walking a minefield every single day of our lives. And if we take the wrong step, it invalidates every positive thing that we've done. Listen, you do not have to agree with Stephen Jackson. You do not have to agree with Malcolm Jenkins. You don't have to agree with Colin Kaepernick. You don't have to agree with anything that anybody says. but it should not invalidate the positive work that they've done for Black people, you know, for the time that they've been here on this planet. And that's frustrating to me. So my advice is, please just stop talking about it. DeSean Jackson apologized, and that's what he needed to do, right? So don't keep throwing the gas on the flame. We have enough of our own fires that we need to take care of, that we need to put out. We got enough people throwing gas on us, trying to burn us up, than to be, you know, helping people that don't really care about your true message. They don't really care about the context of what you're saying. They don't truly care about Black people or Black Lives Matter, any of that. Don't give them a reason. I understand that the margin of error is very, very slim. I understand that when you feel a certain way about certain things, you want really, really bad to express it, especially if you are in a position of power or someone that you know a lot of people listen to. But I beg of you right now, at this moment, myself included, you know, sometimes you just have to take it. You have to, you know, sit there. You have to be quiet so you can, for the greater good of what you're trying to accomplish. And I know that's hard, and I don't like it, and it's not fair. But, you know, life is not fair when, you know, you've been enslaved in various ways over the last 400 years.